Hello everyone, it's Erica from Savon Designs, and I have a fun project, new files out. Earlier in the week, somebody had messaged me asking about Smoky Hill art scenes and if I had frame files that fit those, which I did not. I did have a square frame file that I hadn't put out yet, and this was something I've been kind of half-heartedly working on. I had some ornament stuff at Christmas time that didn't work out, and I'll show you all that. But I went ahead and adjusted my file and cut everything. So these are just in that minimalistic, rounded square frame style. And there are the first file, so there's actually two files. So the first one I'm going to talk about is more of just the frames. And you can see here, these are all sized to work with the Smoky Hill art sizes. I did do the great big one too. I didn't have any samples for that, so it just got a sign in there. But this is that 9-inch square size that they do have for the art scenes as well. And these are the other sizes that they come in. The frame file comes, these are all the skinny frames. Here's an example of a chunky frame. So they each come with, and here's a finished one. So this is the chunky style of this one. This is another option. You could do some layering if you wanted to add some depth to that. You can use the skinny frame on top of the chunky frame. And I'm going to kind of show you how they go together, but I'm not going to go in depth and glue and everything because there's a lot that I wanted to show you guys in this video. And I do have a frame tutorial as well that breaks out more of the details. But with the frames, basically you have 3 layers. You have a front, a middle that is cut out, and that is where your art scenes are going to be able to slide right in. And then a back, which I don't have one cut, but I have one here that's partially put together. This is one of the fur pattern plies from Smoky Hill that I keep trying to find ways to use because I have a couple sheets of it. It's just printed on MDF. I am gonna probably order some of there's a whole sampler for Bigfoot, which I think would be really cute in those. But we'll use a Highland cow for right now because that's what I have. And it just slides right in there. So you can see right here, I did use 1/16 MDF, so there's plenty of room for that little scene to go in there, but not a whole lot of room otherwise. You can use one of the options. Oh, let me show you the back of the frame first too. So these are glued together. If you want to use 3M, put it on both sides of your middle piece. And then you would just glue on your back. The file does come with a variety of different easels for different thicknesses of material. And that is really how those work. Here's one that's finished, has that little stand up. And this also has 1/16 in there. But what I was going to show you that is kind of cool, this is one that I made, added some engraving. So the chunky frames especially give you more room. You can add a personalized engraving. And Smoky Hill has these samplers. So you get a whole sheet. There are 32 excuse me, 32 different designs. They're themed. And so this was an outdoors one that I got. And I cut these apart and separated them into some different kind of categories. So this could be an option for something kind of extra fun if you were selling. So this one's all about camping. This one was hiking. I think that set has gone hunting and gone fishing as well. So for this one, I used 1/8 in between. And you can easily do about 6 of these in here. So you could sell this as a set with some interchangeable little scenes that are all kind of related. So that's definitely kind of fun. There's so many different scenes to choose from. It's just, you could go on and on and on with ideas for these. I just designed the file to be really, really simple, where you could customize and do your own thing with it a little bit more than anything specific. So this is an option. I did do kind of a cost breakout of this. If you use 6 scenes, I did use MDF on the back, so that's a little less expensive. This is a eco-coated cherry and works out to about $4.50, depending on how many scenes you put in there. If you use the 6, I think it worked out to around $4.50 for materials. So depending on what you think you could sell something like this for in your market, could easily, I would think, go for 15 if it's themed. You know, people love themed stuff, so that might be worth it to do. Maybe only put 4 scenes in there, kind of brings your cost down a little bit. You can get more out of that one sheet. I think, I'm not sure if I said it, there's 32 scenes on those samplers, so you could get 8 different ones if you did 4 out of there, and that might be a little more cost effective, but that's definitely an option. This is one I did just by itself, so it just has that one scene in there. Super cute with those poppies. And these don't have to work with the art scenes. You absolutely could do all kinds of things on here. This one, well, this is the naturals, so you could put your own photo frame or your own photo in the frame. It doesn't have to be the art scenes. The file does come with the cut size to make that work as well, if you wanted to add acrylic and a photo and things like that. Here is one I did with some acrylic for the frame in the middle and the back. This one was a little heavier because it's the acrylic and it has all 3 layers. So I did put 2 magnets on the back, and don't be like me and put your glue on the wrong piece there. But this does hold, there's 6 little flower scenes that I thought went well with that acrylic. So that could be a fun Mother's Day. Add some customized engraving on there as well as an option. So those are basically the frames and what comes with those. So that's the whole idea of them being interchangeable, and you slide things in and out. The other file I did is more of a flat 2-layer one. And I had started something similar. I'll kind of show you. At Christmas time, I was trying to do some files, and I had this super sweet art scene, baby Jesus, and I was trying to get it inside. I had made this little wood design frame, but putting them together, gluing them, it ended up like it just wasn't going to hold. You couldn't squash them together enough to get the 2 pieces to fit because of that art scene in the middle. I kind of gave up on it at that point. I thought about what I did do in this file, which is adding some engraving, which I'll show you. But yeah, like the glue wasn't really holding. You know, one drop it probably would have popped off, because really just that art scene was where it would be touching to hold together. So I really didn't like how that went together. So this was my solution. The layered file comes with all the same sizes and all the same shapes. So if you did buy both of them, you could use you could pull this piece in and make this an interchangeable, where's the sun catcher here? Maybe an interchangeable, this is one I was working on, that would be a sun catcher. I'm using the transparent in there, and you could add something like this piece in the middle, so you could interchange those out if you wanted. But for the layered piece, here was my solution. So the file comes with, I'll lay these all out, just regular squares, squares with a single hanger, and squares with a double hanger. These look a little silly on the small ones, but here is one on a large one with those two where you could do a hanger on both sides there, and it's going to hang a little nicer maybe than the single one, but every size comes with every option. So there's a chunky size with the single and a chunky size and all the sizes with the double. So basically how this works, each piece, there's a solid and just a plain frame. And then there's a frame with an engraved portion here. And let me get this up closer, see if you can kind of see that. And what that does, it is allows us, and I'll do this way, to put that art scene, and it is going to lay completely flat. So it kind of fits right down there in that engraving, and it stops this gap that's going on. So for this one, I actually had picked this color frame that I'm going to use. So I'm going to slide, I'm going to put it in this way because that's what we want it to show from the front. Then I can just glue my piece on the back. And this one doesn't have any hangers, so I would make this one probably into a magnet. And I thought I did. So here's one that I've done that same thing for, made it into a magnet. We just have the two layers and a magnet on the back. I will put a link to these in the comments or in my description of this video. I have this and I have another smaller size for, probably would have been fine for this, is to use the two smaller size magnets as well. These actually hold pretty well. I did test this, this is fine. But like I said, it's just the two layers, the three layers, and the acrylic being heavier. I felt two was probably a little safer. So that is basically the gist of this file. Things that you can do with it. Here is one thing I did. So I did a double art scene, so this could be a car charm. I got hummingbirds on this side and hummingbirds on this side. In this case, I used two pieces that had the engrave and basically put them back to back. They were both the single round, but then that way there was enough room for an art scene to be on both sides. So you could mix and match these if you wanted, probably not these colors, but if you just wanted the single hanger with the frame in the front, you could do that. Same here. And yeah, I think that's the gist of what the file does. It's got lots of options. Like I said, these are easy to engrave and add personalization on, especially the chunky frame that gives you a little more room there. And what else was I going to talk about? Oh, the sun catcher. I think I showed you guys Bigfoot. When I do glue them together, I do usually clamp them just to make sure that holds really well. This is transparent, and I did have two examples of these right here. This is that little red truck. Here is the full coverage one versus, oh, those are really getting the glare off there, versus the transparent one. So just be careful with what you're ordering and that you're getting the thing that you want. Transparent, you're going to want to have some light show through it to make that work. So you don't want to put a transparent piece directly on, although that doesn't look too bad. Maybe you do. If you have a light enough background, that might work if that's what you have as well. And one other thing I was going to show you, I was just going to tell you the glue I use, and one other little trick that I did with mine once I do the engrave. I didn't do a super, because it takes forever. Darn it. Oh, Oh, nope, it's still there. I guess I bumped my mouse. I didn't do a really high lines per inch or centimeter or whatever. So it left me, because I did a pretty deep engrave, it left me kind of some ridges there. I just grabbed a tool and kind of scraped those off, made that a little cleaner. And one other thing, where did it go? In the file there is a little piece that you can cut, that you can test your engrave. So it's just a little square. And I swear I had that right here a second ago. It's just a little square so you can test your engrave and set your piece down in there and see if your engrave is enough. So you don't have to do trial and error on actual pieces. And then I was going to talk about the glue that I use for different materials real quick. I didn't do any of these in raw wood, but you absolutely could. The Smoky Hill Cafe woods would make some awesome looking frames for sure. For anything raw wood, I like to use the Titebond Quick and Thick. It doesn't dry super fast, gives you a little time to move things around, but it does work really well with that raw wood. For the eco woods like these that have that pre-finish on them. And the MDF, this will soak into the MDF as well and work well with that. So this is Starbond. This one's thick. The medium works really well as well. And for acrylics, this stuff drives me kind of nuts, and there's probably some other options I want to look at out there. This 16 fast set, I'm trying to see the name on it, Weldon, is what this is, and that's where I kind of messed this one up, as I dripped a little on there. It comes out of these tubes kind of fast sometimes, and that's why I'm like, oh, I'll just put my glue on this piece, and then realized that doesn't get glued down all the way, and be sure and put it on the rounded piece. So I think that's all I wanted to share. Just thought this file is great with lots and lots of options and different ways you can use it and make whatever you're putting in the middle the star of the show, and keeping the outside very pretty and minimal, and let that inside be the star of the show. So thank you guys very much. Oh, one other thing I was going to say with the magnets, because I did do some cost comparison on those. So simple magnet like this is going to run you under $2, and probably even under $1.50, especially if you use MDF on the back, would be less expensive with the sampler scenes. So one sampler, 2 pieces of eco wood, and 2 pieces of MDF. I think it actually, hold on, I have my spreadsheet up here, $1.41, including the magnets, at 25 cents a piece, which I'm not sure if that's right, maybe a little less. So that really doesn't have a lot of cost into it, and they look really nice, especially for a themed event. If you were at, I know people have flowers or Bigfoot or just all kinds of different things. Smoky Hill has tons of options there. So all right, now I really think that's it. So thank you guys. If you just stumbled on this video and want to join my Facebook group, you absolutely can. It's Laser Love with Sabon Designs, and great group of people, super helpful, which is always my goal in the group. So thank you guys.